Listen, I need to tell you something that's going to shock you. While everyone's been celebrating the S&P hitting new all-time highs day after day, while gold is absolutely exploding past $3,600 per ounce, there's something massive brewing in the XRP market that 99% of people are completely blind to. And if you're holding XRP right now, or if you've been thinking about it, what I'm about to share with you could change everything. I've been in this space for years, and I've never seen a setup like this. The traditional markets are going absolutely insane right now. The S&P is breaking records left and right. Gold is on a tear that hasn't been seen in decades. And yet crypto, especially XRP, is just sitting there. People are calling it boring. They're saying it's dead money. They're saying the altcoin season is never coming. But here's what they don't understand. What we're witnessing right now is not crypto being weak. What we're witnessing is the calm before the most explosive financial storm this generation has ever seen. And XRP is positioned right at the center of it all. Let me paint you the real picture of what's happening behind the scenes. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, the Federal Reserve is preparing for what could be the most significant monetary policy shift in recent history. We're talking about rate cuts that are going to flood the entire financial system with liquidity. And when I say flood, I mean an absolute tsunami of money that has to go somewhere. The market is pricing in a 100% chance of rate cuts. 100%. That's not speculation, that's mathematical certainty at this point. The only question is whether we get a 25 basis point cut, or if they go nuclear with 50 basis points or more. And here's where it gets interesting for XRP holders. You see, when rates get cut, especially when they get cut aggressively like we're about to see, institutional money doesn't just sit in cash earning nothing. It has to move. It has to find yield. It has to find growth. And historically, when this happens, when the Fed opens the floodgates, crypto doesn't just participate in the rally, it leads it. But here's the part that's going to blow your mind. XRP isn't just any cryptocurrency. It's not another meme coin. It's not another DeFi token that's going to disappear in the next bear market. XRP is the one digital asset that's been specifically designed for the exact economic environment we're entering. Think about what's happening in the global financial system right now. Central banks around the world are coordinating rate cuts. The European Central Bank, the Bank of Japan, the Federal Reserve, they're all moving in the same direction. And when central banks coordinate like this, when they all start printing money at the same time, you know what happens? Currency instability, international payment friction, the exact problems that XRP was built to solve. I've been tracking the institutional adoption of XRP, and what I'm seeing is terrifying for anyone who's not positioned yet. Major banks aren't just testing XRP anymore. They're implementing it. They're building entire payment infrastructures around it, and they're doing it quietly, away from the retail noise, while everyone's distracted by the latest meme coin or waiting for Bitcoin to hit 6 figures. Here's something that should keep you up at night. The global M2 money supply, that's the measure of money floating around in the economy, is about to explode. When the Fed cuts rates, when they make borrowing cheaper, when they inject liquidity into the system, the M2 supply doesn't just grow linearly, it grows exponentially. And there's a direct correlation between M2 supply growth and cryptocurrency prices. If we follow the historical pattern, and I've run these numbers multiple times, Bitcoin should be trading at over $200,000 right now based on current M2 levels. 200,000, we're not even close to that. Which means the entire crypto market, including XRP, is massively, and I mean massively, undervalued. But here's where XRP gets really interesting. While Bitcoin might follow the M2 supply, XRP has additional catalysts that Bitcoin doesn't have. regulatory clarity that's been years in the making, institutional partnerships that are just now starting to bear fruit, and a utility case that becomes more valuable, not less valuable, as the traditional financial system gets more unstable. Let me tell you something that the mainstream crypto media won't talk about. XRP's price action over the past few months hasn't been random. It hasn't been based on retail sentiment or social media hype. It's been based on institutional accumulation. While retail traders have been chasing the latest altcoin pumps, institutions have been quietly building massive XRP positions. I've been watching the whale wallets. I've been tracking the exchange flows. I've been monitoring the institutional custody platforms. And what I'm seeing is unprecedented accumulation at these levels. We're talking about billions of dollars worth of XRP being moved off exchanges and into long-term storage. That's not day trading activity. That's not retail speculation. That's institutional preparation for something big. And when I say big, I'm talking about a fundamental shift in how international payments work. Right now, every time money moves across borders, it goes through a web of correspondent banks, each taking their cut, each adding delay, each adding cost. It's an archaic system that was built for a world that doesn't exist anymore. But what's happening now, especially with these rate cuts coming, is that the cost of maintaining this old system is becoming prohibitive. Banks are looking for alternatives. Corporations are looking for alternatives. Governments are looking for alternatives. And XRP isn't just an alternative. It's the alternative. Here's what most people don't understand about the current market environment. Yes, the S&P is hitting all-time highs. Yes, gold is exploding. But these are defensive moves. This is money running scared from what's coming. The smart money, the institutional money, they know that traditional assets are overvalued. They know that the dollar is about to get devalued through aggressive rate cuts, and they're positioning for what comes next. What comes next is a complete reshuffling of global financial assets, and in that reshuffling, digital assets that solve real problems, that have real utility, that have regulatory clarity, are going to be the big winners. XRP checks all those boxes in ways that no other cryptocurrency does. But here's the part that should terrify anyone who's not positioned yet. This window is closing fast. The institutional accumulation I'm seeing, the regulatory developments that are happening behind the scenes, the banking partnerships that are being announced quietly, they're all pointing to the same thing. XRP is about to have its moment. And when it does, it's not going to be a gradual rise. It's going to be explosive. I've seen this pattern before. I saw it with Bitcoin in 2017. I saw it with Ethereum in 2020. But what's different about XRP is that it's not just riding a speculative wave. It's riding a fundamental shift in global finance. And those kinds of moves don't just give you 10 times returns, they give you generational wealth. Let me share something with you that I haven't talked about publicly before. I've been in contact with sources inside major financial institutions, and what they're telling me is that the XRP adoption timeline has been accelerated. Projects that were supposed to roll out over years are being fast-tracked to months. Why? Because the economic environment is forcing their hand. When interest rates are near zero, when currency volatility is spiking, when international trade is getting more complex, the cost savings that XRP provides aren't just nice to have, they're survival, and institutional decision makers are starting to realize this. But here's what's really going to shock you. The retail market has no idea what's coming. While institutions have been accumulating, while banks have been building infrastructure, while regulatory frameworks have been falling into place, retail investors have been completely distracted. They're chasing meme coins. They're waiting for Bitcoin to break out. They're ignoring the one asset that's actually being adopted by the traditional financial system. This disconnect between institutional reality and retail perception is creating the biggest opportunity in crypto right now. And it won't last much longer. Once the rate cuts start flowing, once the liquidity hits the market, once the institutional adoption becomes public, retail is going to wake up fast. And when they do, when they realize what they've been missing, the buying pressure is going to be unlike anything we've seen. I want you to understand something about market cycles. They don't move in straight lines. They move in phases. Right now, we're in the institutional accumulation phase. The phase where smart money builds positions quietly, away from retail attention. The next phase is the institutional adoption phase, where the use cases become public, where the partnerships get announced, where the regulatory clarity becomes official. And after that comes the retail FOMO phase, the phase where everyone realizes what they've been missing, the phase where price doesn't matter anymore because everyone needs to get in. That's when you see the explosive moves. That's when you see the life-changing returns. But here's the critical point. By the time retail wakes up, by the time the FOMO phase kicks in, the easy money has already been made. The institutional accumulation phase, the phase we're in right now, that's where the real fortunes are built. That's where you get in before the explosion, not after. And XRP is still in that phase. Despite everything I've just told you, despite the institutional accumulation, despite the banking partnerships, despite the regulatory clarity, XRP is still trading like it's speculative. It's still trading like it's unproven. It's still priced for failure, not for success. This is your opportunity. This is your window. While everyone else is distracted by traditional markets hitting all-time highs, while they're chasing the latest crypto trends, while they're waiting for Bitcoin to make its move, XRP is building the foundation for the biggest breakout in crypto history. But time is running out. The Fed meeting is tomorrow. The rate cuts are coming. The institutional adoption is accelerating. And once this thing starts moving, once the market realizes what XRP actually is and what it's actually doing, there's no going back. I've been tracking altcoin cycles for years, and what I'm seeing right now reminds me of late 2016, early 2017. Everyone thought altcoin season was dead. Everyone thought Bitcoin was the only game in town. And then, seemingly overnight, altcoins exploded. XRP went from 36 cents to over $3 in a matter of weeks. But this time is different. This time, XRP isn't just riding a speculative bubble. It's riding institutional adoption. It's riding regulatory clarity. It's riding real-world utility that's being implemented by major financial institutions. The fundamentals behind this move are stronger than they've ever been. And here's something that should absolutely blow your mind. The altcoin market cap, relative to Bitcoin, is sitting at levels that historically mark major bottoms. The others chart, the chart that tracks altcoin performance relative to Bitcoin, is showing oversold conditions that we've only seen a few times in crypto history. And every single time we've seen these conditions, every single time, it's been followed by massive altcoin rallies. But this isn't just about technical analysis. This isn't just about charts and patterns. This is about fundamental shifts in the global economy that are creating demand for exactly what XRP provides. Cross-border payment solutions, currency bridge technology, institutional-grade settlement infrastructure. These aren't speculative use cases. These are necessities in the new economic reality we're entering. The rate cuts that are coming, they're not just monetary policy. They're acknowledgement that the current system is broken. They're acknowledgement that traditional methods of managing economic growth aren't working anymore. And when systems break, when old methods fail, that's when new technologies get adopted. That's when innovative solutions get implemented. That's when early adopters get rewarded. XRP isn't just positioned to benefit from crypto's next bull run. It's positioned to benefit from the fundamental restructuring of global finance that's happening right now. And if you understand what that means, if you understand the scale of the opportunity we're looking at, then you understand why I'm so passionate about this. I've seen a lot of opportunities in my career. I've seen a lot of market cycles. I've seen a lot of technologies come and go. But what I'm seeing with XRP right now, the convergence of institutional adoption, regulatory clarity, technical innovation, and macroeconomic necessity. This is the kind of opportunity that comes along once in a generation. But opportunities like this don't last forever. They have windows, and that window is closing fast. The institutional accumulation is happening now. The regulatory framework is solidifying now. The banking partnerships are being implemented now. And once this moves from the institutional phase to the retail phase, the easy money will be gone. I want you to imagine something. Imagine waking up 6 months from now and seeing XRP trading at $10, $15, $20. Imagine seeing your portfolio balance with numbers you never thought possible. Imagine having generational wealth because you recognized an opportunity that 99% of people missed. That's not fantasy. That's not wishful thinking. That's the mathematical result of what happens when institutional adoption meets retail FOMO in a market that's been suppressed for years. And all the indicators, all the data, all the evidence points to that being exactly what's about to happen with XRP. But it's not enough to just hold XRP. You need to understand what you're holding. You need to understand why it's going to move. You need to understand the timeline. Because when this thing starts moving, when the institutional adoption becomes public, when the retail FOMO kicks in, you need to be mentally prepared for the volatility that's coming. This isn't going to be a smooth ride to the top. There are going to be massive swings. There are going to be days when XRP moves 50% in both directions. There are going to be moments when you question everything. But if you understand the fundamentals, if you understand why this is happening, you'll have the conviction to hold through the volatility and capture the full move. And make no mistake, this is going to be the full move. This isn't going to be a modest rally that gives you 30 or 40% gains. When XRP breaks out, when it starts moving on institutional adoption and retail FOMO, we're talking about moves that could be measured in thousands of percent. We're talking about the kind of returns that create generational wealth. But only for those who recognize the opportunity now. Only for those who position themselves before the institutional phase ends and the retail phase begins. Only for those who understand that what looks like a boring, stagnant market right now is actually a coiled spring waiting to explode. The Fed is about to cut rates. The M2 money supply is about to expand. Institutional adoption is accelerating. Regulatory clarity is solidifying. And retail is completely asleep at the wheel. This is your moment. This is your opportunity. This is your chance to position yourself for what could be the biggest financial move of your lifetime. But you have to act now. You have to recognize that what everyone else sees as boring, as stagnant, as dead money is actually the setup for the most explosive move in XRP's history. You have to understand that institutional accumulation doesn't happen in the spotlight. It happens quietly, methodically, while everyone else is distracted. The question isn't whether XRP is going to explode. The question is whether you're going to be positioned when it does. The data is clear, the fundamentals are aligned, the opportunity is in front of you, what you do with it is up to you. But remember this, in 6 months, when XRP has moved from where it is now to levels that seem impossible today, when the institutional adoption is front page news, when retail is scrambling to get in at any price, when the opportunity has moved from accumulation to FOMO, you'll remember this moment. You'll remember this conversation. And you'll either remember it as the moment you recognized one of the biggest opportunities in financial history, or as the moment you let it slip away. The choice is yours, but choose fast. Because ready or not, XRP's moment is coming. And everyone, absolutely everyone, is unprepared for what's about to happen.